Greetings and welcome. Thank you for stopping by here on YouTube Live at The Real Bloom From Within Love. I go by Bloomy. And those of you who are visiting here for the first time, welcome. To the returnings, welcome. Those that are drawn and divinely guided by high vibrational love and light and positive energy, I welcome you and I wish you well. Anything that you all need to know about me should be listed in the description box. Okay, so now this is about more truths about my story. I told you guys that I will continue to share bits and pieces as guided, and that the more and more they did things against me and my son, the more and more that they practiced spell work, the more and more that they lied, the more and more that they tried to send bounty hunters towards where me and my son is. I said that as I was guided, I was going to reveal more truths and more secrets about my family. So, with that being said, I'm guided to share some history, okay? Some history here, and then I'm going to speak more into what actually happened in my particular situation on this twin flame journey as it pertains to my family, okay? But history. And I guess I'm guided to share this again for my own clearing, my own healing and release, but also hopefully some folks out there one day start really waking up to some shit. Okay. And then, those of you who are on similar stories, it'll help you to know that, you know what? Nope, as you're not crazy. That's simply the way they wanted you to look and feel to everyone else. Okay. So, my mother, okay, my mother is a karmic as well, and she was in collaboration with my sister, working with my ex and convincing, she was a part of the luring and convincing my ex to go towards my sister, okay, with all sorts of stories, lies, and half truths, and it was all behind really hating me, not wanting me to have, and wanting a piece of it, wanting the money, wanting to be provided for and taken care of, and my sister using the heartstrings, using, I don't know, children, kids, or whatever. But oddly enough, they talked about how codependent I was. Do you guys see the twist in that? How twisted that is? A part of them luring him away was reinforcing how codependent I was, yet it was all about being codependent on whatever that is that they gained out of the connection with him. Okay. So I'm going in history here. We're going to talk about the past because I'm making a point because people don't critically think anymore. Okay. And so I'm being guided here and there to just share bits and pieces of what has happened in history, and to help people to stop being so blank and simple minded in terms of just listening to things. And it's like, you don't know these people, starting to learn how to go beyond whatever's being thrown at you from whomever. So I'm guided to share the history with my mother, okay? Just to prove the hypocrisy and the whole shenanigans of the collaboration with her and my older sister, with, luring, in the past, luring my ex um, towards my sister and convincing and all of that. Now, I'm going to take you back to the 90s when my mother was, she was with my stepdad at the time, but they were not married. Okay. And they were having issues and problems and things like that, and fights and so forth, and all kinds of craziness. He had cheated, of course, several times in their relationship. And then my mom, this is something that you all don't know. At that time in the 90s, she ended up, maybe it was a result of her revenge on my stepdad, but she had an affair with a woman. And she would leave and go. And, then we had to deal with talking to my stepdad. My stepdad would come to us and ask us if we knew anything. and all of that. And then in other cases, when she would come back, then the woman that she was having an affair with would, sometimes try to talk to us and ask us if we knew anything about what was going on. Yes, I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. Now, mind you, I was a teenage, I was young. I was what, 19, 18, 19, in the early ages. Yeah, 18, 19, 20. It was around those times. And guess what? At age 18 and 19 and 20, I still knew better not to divulge information about my mother's extramarital involvement, or putting myself in the middle of it saying, yeah, she hoeing around. Yeah, she over there with her own chick, like, you know, um, in the name of, even though, I have my opinions about it, and technically it was wrong, technically, all these things. And so, because he was taking care of the household, he was at that time, for the most part. And so, you know, if one wanted to be very similar to how they try to portray themselves to be with my ex, someone that was just wanting to share some information because of the concern, right? Um, and this type of stuff is the whole point of what I've been trying to drive home for a lot of folks, is like, no matter what way you wanted to spin the whole thing, no matter which way you wanted to flip it, at the end of the day, that was out of bounds. And see, and that's something that a lot of folks jump over, skip over, glance over, whatever. That any normal situation, usually they won't get involved in that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, that's between, you ain't fencing the, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though you could have an opinion, but you're not going to take nothing upon yourself to let me come and talk to you, Omer, and tell you about what my mother's doing, because I really feel like you're a good guy. And, she's out there wilding out, and, she's out there doing all these things. And so I really feel like you need to know about that, because you don't deserve this, and she's not well, and we mean her well, but what I'm saying, that kind of slick kind of talk. Nobody would have looked at that as okay. Nobody would have felt like that was okay for me to do. Nobody would have. They would have been like, well, that ain't your business. That's your mother's life. That would be the first thing that comes out of most folks' mouth, would be this. No matter how wrong it was or whatever, most folks have been like, that ain't your business. That's your mother's life. It's, and between her and him, and who, the adults that are in the dynamic, but that's not your business to go and start whispering in his ear, and then saying something to the woman, because they both would try to come and pull the information from me when they were wondering what was going on with my mom, or what was she up to, where was she at, did she, blah blah blah, say anything. And I had to go, you know what, I don't know, I understand, but yet staying in that, not in it, right? And so that's one thing I want to put out there, collective. So if people are out there trying to make you feel some kind of way, about how you feel about a situation, if it's similar to my storyline, don't buy the gaslighting, dear. Okay? Because if the tables were turned, they would be saying you had no position and no right to be, um, talking about your mother's, love life, or your family members' love life, and their decisions, and what they were doing and not doing. Okay, whether you thought they were healed or not, and, if you thought something was wrong with them or not, you would be told that that is not your business and your position. So it shouldn't be any differently than you. And it's quite a shame that most folks didn't look at it that way. Okay, they sat there, and bought into it and believed the hype. Okay. Um, and I believe that this is in terms of, my ex, he just sat there, he bought into it, he believed the hype. I believe that uh, his friends, family, whatever, all of that collaboration was like, oh, instead of thinking like, what kind of mother or sister does that? Okay, whether it's true or not. Now, again, like I told you guys, in my case, they only shared pieces of truths, and most of it was distorted. The rest was all absolute off. Okay, and it was something else I was guided to share. That was one of them. Yes, they did know the truth. Okay, so um my mother, because when these things come to surface, then everybody gets the amnesia and everyone tries to start acting like, I didn't know, I didn't know. No, they absolutely did. Okay. She knew, my sister knew this was not a situation of, oops, or, wasn't an awareness of the fullness and all of that. No, she was a part of guiding my ex to my sister. She was a part of that whole process to have him to have poor judgment. Now, I'm not putting all of the responsibility, but she was doing spell work along with my sister. She knew about it. She agreed with it. Okay. That spell work stuff, but they tried to lie and act like they don't know about it. Okay. To get the spell work on my ex. So my ex was under heavy duty spell work from the very beginning. Okay. This has been being done on me and him. Okay. Not to mention, the others in his life, the other karmics in his life that, outside of my family that equally do weird toxic shit because he has some really busy toxic friends. I mentioned this before that I knew about, as well as him being the player, that he was at that time. He dealt with a lot of dark women. This is why when I say dark, I'm talking about spiritual and weird stuff practices. And so because he was locked in his shadow, okay, again, he was reared in Sodom. So that should speak for itself. He was reared in Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? And so he already had that get down. And it was easy, that's how he kind of got caught in a loop. But my family, my sister, my karmic is also one of his. And we experienced something with her in another life, as well as my mother. And it was all about money. Okay. My mom, I'm not going to show you guys all the read that I did here because I did readings on both of them today because I was alerted that they're preparing me for something pertaining to both of them. Okay. So, um, it was all about being envious and jealous, not wanting me to have the love. My ex actually told my mother the truth, okay, about how he felt about me, but she still guided him in a different direction. So I'm also aware that at some point there was an admission of something. Okay. He got involved with the toxicity. The longer you stay connected to those types of people, then you become one of their, you get equally dark. But at some point, he expressed something to them about how he felt about me, and my mother was a part of guiding him in the wrong direction and literally lying on me. Okay. She was a part of it. Now, again, I don't want no one to think that I'm just solely blaming, and I'm not, because there's always other ways to go about it. When people go about things the proper way and all that, then a lot of things are avoided. But, the higher level spell work had already been being done. He had already started soul tying, when you sleep, the sex magic, they were doing all sorts of weird shit, agreeing with, first and foremost to try to destroy me, to try to take from me. They were taking from me. Okay. I've already talked about this, but I just wanted to share an example because I already shared the example from my sister's point, where it's like I knew things about my sister, you know what I'm saying, this whole time in terms of her love life and sex life and choices and her, activities and so forth. But even with all that knowledge, what would people say? Well, it is not in your what place? It is not in your what place, whether or not something was true. So everyone should have really been looking at the shit like this is majorly off in foul play, because no matter what their view is, it's not their place. They didn't know him. They don't really care about him. Okay. I'll make that clear. I don't care how they crying and what the fuck. Okay. It's an illusion. It was never about that. Okay. They don't know this man from Adam in a 3D. So why the hell would that be so extra important, right? It's out of bounds. These are things that people need to start looking for. Like, you don't know this man from Adam, but yet you're trying to act like you're so concerned and trying to be all this ethical and all of this shit. You don't know them, and you're willing to betray your own blood, no matter what's true. If because they lied. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it 100. They used some of my younger years frailties, okay, to go, she, back in the day, but they still in the day, that's I'm like, what hypocrisy though. They had to go to the way back to dig into my young adult years to talk about my failings and things of that nature, to try to solidify um, the whatever they were trying to perpetuate, the instability. I had the sense enough. See, one of the clues that people need to listen to about this shit in life, don't be concerned about ones that people say they went to the therapist or they went to see counseling and they went and did this and that and they did this and that. Be more worried about the ones that's trying to act super sane and sound and like they don't need it, but they're lunatics. Okay? Those are the ones you want to kind of pause. Okay? But my family tried to use that, okay, with some mixed shit in it. That's all I can say. Because the things that I did in my young adult years, even regarding my love life, I wasn't whoring so that people could pay for my things. Okay. I wasn't whoring so I can get surgeries and homes and, things like that. I was a very broken, misguided young woman that had a child and got married very early and young and raised a special needs kid alone, coming from a family of abuse, still looking for love. My motivation was simply that. My motivation was not the other shit. Okay. Um, so I just want to say that for the record. But that was my young adult years. That wasn't my 40, 50s. Okay. Still, hoeing and doing all sorts of things. But they tried to um, perpetuate that energy on me, and that's their energy. Okay. Because I was living in a weekly and all of the struggles or whatever. They tried to imply that I was a bad mother. Okay. And they were the worst. And see, but people don't put shit together. It's like, well, if they were so good and concerned and worried about my son, let me tell you something. When my sister kicked us out, you guys have heard me say this. It wasn't that she just said, um, okay, you guys are gonna have to go, and then the next day we had to get up and we had to pack her a day, 2 days later or something. That's not what happened. It was at night, okay, that this stuff went down. Okay, behind $300, behind my niece. Okay, I was still trying to get myself out of there. All right, my niece, well, she's got her mother's energy. I'll just say that. So, and It was immediate, me and my son that night with the little money I had in my car. And it was on a weekend. Luckily, I was able in Nevada to find an actual room available that took actually virtually half of it. Okay. And they don't tell that. So, anybody that's so worried and concerned, okay, about my life or my son's would not have conducted that way. My mother wouldn't have responded the way she did. My sister wouldn't have either. So it's all bullshit. I did not do anything to those people. Okay. Um, I'm like the cleanest, straightest laces out of the blood. Okay. The instability that they tried to point at was actually me regaining my stability because of how they were fucking shit up with all of their spell work and all of their attempts to sabotage and their toxic, nasty energy. And me being near them and getting sick because I was. So, you know, and sneakily doing this behind my back. Okay. The sex magic, she knows about all that. She also, my mother, she also practiced and try to send shit to me in my dreams as well. I'm not dumb. They've been exposed. I know what they're doing. Okay. The issue is people are so dumbfounded and blind in 3D and surface because they know how to put on an act. They know how to cry and fall out. They know how to fucking grab crosses and Bibles and beg and they know how to get folks to agree with them and cover for them and lie for them. So I had no interest in trying to convince the folks around me in my life at those times because it's exhausting. And at the end of the day, I needed to make sure somehow, some way, I got me and my son free from these dizzy motherfuckers, whether people thought I was crazy or not. Okay. I'm not perfect. I never implied that I was. This is why I'm making a point. I'm saying things in a certain way for a reason because people can sit in endless debates and go, well, she lied about that and she didn't share that part. Might as well hang it up. Might as well fucking hang it up. At the end of the day, they lacked respect and boundaries. They had no business interrupting and intervening in a grown person's life, dating life, those that they're involved with at all. This is what an issue my brother had with her. Okay. They had no business with discussing anything. Okay. So whatever that's going on out there, y'all, they can play with it. Y'all can play with it however you want. Bottom line, out of bounds. They have no business doing it, no matter what lie they're trying to say and what reasons and all of that. It's disrespectful and it's sneaky and it's snaky. And if the tables were turned, everybody would be in an uproar about how dare you tell their business, or how dare you, you know what I'm saying, tell their lover or whatever the case about what they were doing. Yeah. Again, money. This one right here is my mother's reading, part of it. I already did my sister's prior to this. So yeah, she influenced my ex to take a gamble with my sister to end things with me. Okay. Yeah. And it was all because of whatever they were doing and getting, whether it was stealing from me, um, Ponzi schemes. I don't know what the fuck, I know that they did some shit to me and my work. Okay. And but the point that I'm making, she is under judgment, but the point that I'm making is it's always the pentacle. It's something that they held or holding that belongs to me, whether that's the house, okay, whatever the fuck, house, check, money, shit. Bottom line, that's why they all collaborated. That's why they started doing spell work on him. Okay, that's why he couldn't think straight and see straight when he started dealing with my sister and to begin with. Okay, on top of his addictions and things that he had already. That's what I try to tell people. I'm like, this is how they get you in. Okay, this is how. And they take pride in that. And I can tell you that because one of the last conversations I had with my mother, she mentioned about, she was talking about sex. You see where I'm going? Just perverted, twisted, twisted, very twisted. Okay. And yeah, very, very, very twisted. She's talking about sex, with, her, my stepdad, got divorced or whatever, but, she was trying to, whistle blow and basically kind of share how the reason why my ex was so, caught up is because there was sex magic, because my sister was using her karmic hoo-ha, okay? And all these sex demons that's on all their asses, okay? And because my ex, that's a surefire way. He had plenty of addictions at that time. But I'm showing you all this right here because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about for them. This is why they have been trying to kill me and my son. This is why they have tried to send people, and whatever people they have sent to where I am, woe unto them and their household. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? Woe unto them and their household. But the point that I'm making is they're doing this because they don't want this shit to come out. They don't want, they want to try to get rid of me and my son. So hopefully all this stuff could remain a secret about who the fuck they really are. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people that hear this and not want to believe it. And I really don't care. But this is for those that you're already getting an inkling of things. Well, this is to help you so you can free yourself before you get caught up in what is hitting them. Before you get caught up, okay? If you're already starting to have some inklings of something, but to the others that's still disillusioned about them, then that's just their lot as well. Okay? You can't just cry and say, I'm sorry. See, they're good for that because I think they could have been doing that to my ex. Okay? While still putting spell work on him, sympathy spells. They were putting sympathy spells on him. Okay, they were having witch doctors do this. They were doing high level spell work to keep him under wraps. And the reason why it worked to a degree is because, like myself, and there's a past life connection. And so he didn't understand that it was only meant for to share some compassion, but it wasn't meant for him to go to the left and get dark and do weird shit and stay and violate the twin flame journey and do things that's going to cost him even more. He didn't catch that. Okay. And then got way dark into the left, fucking around with my sister. And so that collaboration to try to trick me, it's like the higher realms saw all of their attempts, all of their whispers and talks and things, as they all watch me, because they all stalk me. They all do. FBI, if you're watching, they all do. FBI, if you're watching, since you guys govern the internet and social media, if you all were to check my blocked list on TikTok, that'll give you some direction as to those that are involved with trying to bounty hunt me and my son, that is trying to set me up to be killed, kidnapped, or my son, and that is stealing from me, using my personal information as well as my son's, that have stole from Bloom from Within Love, in which I've created, and my content, as well as forgery of my name and possibly my son's. If you guys are still investigating, those will be the place I'm creating block lists for that reason, to give you guys an idea of where to start looking in the background. They got some, either some secret property or some hideaway spot, pinnacle. I am fully aware. I'm just only allowed to share certain pieces at certain times, because I'm told that every time they fuck with you, every time they start getting in groups and whispering and planning, every time they're sending somebody against you, every time they're calling the witch doctor, every time they're chanting and doing their things, expose them. We're going to tell you to tell some more of their secrets. Start calling people names out, start calling businesses out, start calling locations out, associates out, so they can understand. There's nothing being done in secret. So they can understand that all of the bounty hunters and witch doctors are going to fry with all of them. Everybody that's taken what's mine is going to pay. Everybody that collaborated and did things to harm my son, me, are going to pay. Some, it's already happening. And that's why I was guided to do 2 readings. It's not a joke. It's not a game. So they wanted to try, right? But collective, now you know, as you come back and you listen to this and you hear the crazy about all this kind of stuff, now you could have a little bit confidence that don't believe the hype, my dear. You ain't crazy. They want you to think you are. They want everyone else, but the truth is it's in reverse. They're the lunatics. Like in my case, they were literally in an insane asylum in a past life. Their souls are still disturbed. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I'm not going nowhere. I'm still going to speak all the truths, all the truths. Truths, light team. There it is. Well, okay. I'm here, guys. Hold on. Okay. Amplify their ramification. Ricochet this shit back, team. Let's do this again.